All right. This video right here is going to be what I wish I knew before I started as a public speaker. Now, my public speaking journey has not been the most beautiful, and it's not been like overnight success at all. It's been through a lot of trials and errors and tribulations and lots of vulnerable moments, because I didn't know that as a public speaker that you'd end up going on a journey of healing. I didn't know that as a public speaker, you'd go down a deep transformative journey of knowing what your past has entailed and what your story really has been made up of. And yeah, I mean the trauma, I mean the life difficulties, the challenges, the pivotal moments, the ups and downs and swings that you've gone through up until this current life. Because when I got into public speaking, I thought public speaking was about motivation, rah-rah energy. I'm here to be the biggest energy in the room. Look at me, look at me. I have this beautiful message to share out into the world. But truly the back end work that went into going to being a public speaker, and I'm only been doing this professionally now and full time for about a year and a couple months now. However, it started off with humble beginnings. I remember when I was about 8 years old, I used to be stuck in this class called ESL, English Secondary Language. And it's because I couldn't speak English. I just couldn't. I had a stuttering problem. I had a speech impediment. I only spoke Spanish. My parents were immigrants. And I remember going up on stage in front of a room and having these children's books and reading it across a group of students and stuttering my way through it. And what was really daunting and confusing was that the kids that were right in front of me, they would bully me, they'd ridicule me, they'd make fun of me, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be so confused because I'm like, bro, you're in the same class as me. We're struggling with the same thing, yet we're putting each other down. Now, those are my early developmental times as being a speaker. I would be thrown on stages, not because I wanted to, but because I had to, because that's the only way I was gonna get better. And I'm fortunate enough that I, overcame that fear at a very young age. And here's the truth, the fear still comes, the nervousness still comes, the butterflies still come, because when you're a public speaking, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about who's listening to you. It's about the audience that's right in front of you. It's about the people that are following your words. Here's the thing, as a public speaker, I may end up going up on stage for an hour to speak in a room of 60 people, 100 people, 300 people. I'm speaking for an hour, but they're giving me 300 hours of their time. So what's more valuable, my time or their time? Collectively, it's gonna be their time, because I'm having 300 hours of a human being's lifetime as my responsibility. So I need to make sure I deliver something that will transform their life. Now, as a public speaker too, I remember going to church, and I remember going up in front of the pulpit and, sharing verses and sharing messages at times and teaching and stuff. And I didn't know all these stuff was going to be building ground towards it. I didn't, Then growing up as a teenager, I was late to puberty. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I was late to puberty. That I sounded like a little girl. That every time I pick up the phone at my house, they would say, "Hi, little girl, is your mom home?" Or they'll be like, "Hi, Mrs. Fuentes, how are you today?" I was 14. I sounded like a little girl, and sometimes my voice is still kind of high pitch, and I got to train my voice to be more lower pitch because I don't have a deep voice box like many different people. So there's these challenges, these obstacles, these things that are stacking against me. But as a little boy, I just had this deep desire that I want to be heard, I want to be felt, I want to be understood by other people. But what I didn't know is that it required me to understand you first. It required me to understand other people. And here's where the big shift came, because in my early years of entrepreneurship, when I got into real estate, when I got into sales, I still did some public speaking, especially in college, on stage and presentations. I was doing all these things for free for the most part. And I always just came with a bunch of energy. And people liked it, because here's the thing, people fear public speaking. And when other people do it and they admire it, and then they say, "Oh my God, you're so natural at it. You're so natural." I'm like, no, I'm not natural at it. I'm actually kind of faking it right now. I'm actually putting on a whole different persona that's not really me. But hey, I used that to my advantage. I was young. I was willing to do it. But the real shift came when I started doing the healing and the deep work and really starting to get to know my story. I was like, you know what, Elian, why is it that you're built like this? Why is it that you have these beliefs, these habits, these things that are in your way? And when I finally surrendered to the vision and the plan that God gave me, saying, "Hey, this is where I want you to go," and I'm like, fine, I'll surrender. I'll build this public speaking business and this communication company. It's always been a desire in me. I'm like, I'm going to go do it. I don't know how it looks like. I'm going to go build it. We're going to figure it out along the way. And I remember going to a leadership coach of mine. His name is Michael Strasser, phenomenal coach. He coaches Lewis Howes and many different leaders and CEOs and founders all throughout the entire world. And I remember going up to him with so many giddy and so much happiness. And I go to him at the start of my PhD leadership program. I say "Hey, I'm a public speaker now. I'm building this, I'm building that." And all because he asked me, what do I do? And I tell him super excitedly, And he looks at me dead in the face. He's like, no, you're not. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, no, you're not. You're not a public speaker. And I was like, I'm fighting my ego. I'm fighting my ego to not come up and like, all right, this guy's smarter than me. He makes more money than me. He has more wisdom than me. He knows what he's doing. All right, Eliam, just be open. Be open. Like, what does he got to say? He said, Eliam, you're not a public speaker. You are a public impactor. Because you see, public speaking is not about you. It's not about you just sharing a message up there in front of people, but it's about impacting the lives of the people that are right in front of you. It's not about you. It's about them. And when he gave me that shift from being a public speaker to being a public impactor, that's when the real transformation started happening. That's where I went from coming off a stage and then people telling me, oh my goodness, you're so inspiring, you're so motivating. Wow, so much great energy. And then I would ask them, well, what did you get out of it? And they're like, I don't know. I'm just inspired though, because I was public speaking. But public impacting, that lasts longer, because when you're coming in with the mindset of impacting someone's life and transforming someone's life, because you don't know where they're at in their life right now. But when you come from that context and they come up to you afterwards and they ask you, oh my goodness, that was so transformative, inspiring me, you motivated me. I learned so much. I know what to do in my life now. And then you ask them, well, what did you take away? What are you going to do? And they tell you all these different things that they're going to do and all these different things that they're going to accomplish. That is the true fulfillment. When your audience, when your people listening to you, they have takeaways, they have clarity, they know their next steps, and they feel motivated and they have the action to take it and they take on that action. That's super cool. And that taught me and realized this, that, hey, my story, yes, it's unique and it's unique to me, but my story is actually not mine. It's for other people. I share my story, but I don't know what it's going to open up for you. I don't know exactly what it's going to do for you in your life, but you know, because you're the expert of yourself. So I use my story as an example. I use my story as a tool to be able to open up and transform your life, because we may not have had the same exact events and the experiences that happened to us, but we can relate to the same emotions and the feelings that we have as human beings, and you know where to go next. So when you're going up there on stage next time and speaking in public for however long it is, go in with the mindset of being a public impactor. That's the lesson I wish I knew at the very beginning of my public speaking journey. In future videos, we'll dive into more lessons that I'm learning by building this and what you can take away from this and how you can improve, because I don't know it all. But what I do know is that if I'm a couple steps ahead of you, if I'm a couple steps further along the journey, then I have some wisdom to share with you and lessons that you can take on. If I could just help you get a couple levels above in your life and transform your life and make you better through the vehicle of public speaking, storytelling, transformation, emotional intelligence, leadership, then that's fulfillment for me, and that's you fulfilling your purpose. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to Eliam Fuentes and check us out. Book a call with me. I want to know what your goals are. Let me see how I can help you out. We're here to serve faith-driven leaders. We're entrepreneurs, creators, coaches, and aspiring speakers, and we amplify their story so that your message that God gave you goes out into the rest of the world. Thank you for watching.